Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 2 of a best of 3 between Underthesea and Gonzo in the semi-finals of the Season 6 playoffs of the Steel Division 2 League. Today they are playing on Haroshaje, and on our left in the red team, playing on the allied side, we have Gonzo using the 97th Guards rifles and the Maverick deployment type. And on our right, in the blue team, also playing on the allied side, we have Underthesea using the 44th Guards rifles and the Maverick deployment type. So currently, Underthesea is 1-0 up in this series, managed to take Gonzo down to the wire in the last game. Gonzo was so close to being able to break back and do a lot of damage to Underthesea in that game, potentially taking the win himself, but Underthesea ran down the clock and took Gonzo out, which was very impressive. It's not often you see people beat Gonzo like that, and putting him under pressure certainly made him break. So let's see if Underthesea can do it again, take a 2-0 victory over Gonzo. That would be quite something. Either way, Gonzo is not going to want that to happen. He's going to be trying his best here, trying to stop Underthesea in his tracks and take the 2 games to move on to the final himself. Now both these guys have pretty decent decks. Gonzo with the 97th has some pretty strong armor available, IS-1, IS-2s. Also has some very strong off-map. He has the big rocket off-map, and not only the naval barrage, but also the 300mm Haroshaje off-map, which comes with the biplane. I'm not sure if we'll see it in the 1v1, but either way, very strong off-map options. 44th also has some strong off-map options, or at least a lot of off-map if it wants it. And then has medium armor backed up by like long-range support weapons in the form of like the SU-152, very strong armor that can project at long range with decent infantry to back it up in the form of the guards. But let's see what's going down. So Gonzo here has the 97th. He is going to be bringing in the ZIS-2 with a leader at the top with 4 units of Gwardii DP. Further down, he's got the Gonzo and the Gwardii DP. This is actually a unit that's, I think, unique to the 97th. It's a recon unit with a sniper and a machine gun, which is very nice. And then it has an IS-1 there, so it pins things down very quickly, basically. Another Gonzo heading into the town with more Gwardii DP and the leader. And on the bottom side, it's going to be 3 Tankos, leader, SG-43, and Gonzo, and the T-34 76 1943. These 2 are probably going to move up to these buildings, most likely, and try and cover off the open ground on the bottom side of the town. For Underthesea on the top, he has 3 Su-76s, a PTRS squad, and a Gwardii. Interesting choice of units here from Underthesea. I'm not quite sure where all of those are going to go, if they're going to go to the same place, or if they're going to kind of like spread out across the open down here. Regardless, into the center, we have multiple Gwardii DP, followed up by 4 Avtos, and a leader with an off-map at the start. Okay. Further down, we've got 2 Gwardii DP and a leader, and Gwardii DP and PTRS. So, looks like Underthesea very much focusing on the town in the center early on, and then covering his flanks with limited infantry, but does have that little bit of armor on the top side there to potentially cover him off as well. But that early off-map, we'll have to see how important that is, because if it hits the mark, it could give Underthesea a massive advantage in the middle of the map early on. And previously, we saw Underthesea take a very decisive lead by pushing straight through the middle of the map. In this case, it's actually very much more profitable to push through the middle of the map early on, because you gain 3 flags. Flags in Haroshaje are very condensed in the center here, so if one side or the other loses a bunch of ground, they lose a lot of flags as well very quickly, whereas in some maps there's only like say one flag on either side, and you can take a lot of ground but you only gain 1 flag. But yeah, Haroshaje definitely one that's quite important to control the center of the map on. So looks like Underthesea there actually deleted those Su-76s on the top side. I was thinking he might have 1 on this top road and maybe 2 come down here and face off in the open to potentially cut reinforcements or engage support weapons at range, because they can, of course, fire HE, but it looks like he's instead adding them to the bottom side here, Su-76s now there, and I think he added another Gvardia in the center, so only 2 Su-76s on that deployment now. And there are now 2 T-34s out for Gonzo as well, so both sort of having a little bit of medium armor to begin with, but that IS-1 further up is going to be quite a nuisance for the Su-76s to deal with in town, but it really will depend whether or not the IS-1 can get good line of sight in the town, because there are a lot of buildings here. As you can see, it's not the best terrain for tanks to fight in, other than stuff like M4s, which has quick aim time. Like, having tanks with a fast aim time is like really, really important. Anyway, let's see where these go. But it looks like the Su-76s are just going to be heading into the town. Okay, so he's not going to be using them to support the top and bottom side. He's just going to be pushing straight into the middle with pretty much everything, leaving a PTRS and Gvardia on the top and bottom. Now, P2 actually coming in at the start. Recon plane there. That's looking for something for the Yak-1 to bomb. And it looks like the Yak-1 has found its target. Going to be trying to stop Gonzo here in his tracks. The best thing for Gonzo to do here is obviously spread, and it looks like he's done it quite effectively. So he's going to lose 1 infantry, but he's able to keep all of his other units in transports, which is really, really important. Because if he just goes ahead and unloads all of them, then he allows his opponent to get deep into the town very early on. So well played there. Potentially could have unloaded the Gvardia to maybe try and hit the squad, but it would have taken a lot of damage regardless, so might have even got one shot by the 2 100-kilogram bombs. So I think that's the best of a bad situation really there for Gonzo, and he's able to now move in his Gvardia into the positions he wants to. He's going to still lose a little bit of ground because his Gvardia are going to be late because they had to pull off the road, but ultimately he's going to be able to contest the flags on his side of the map at least. The Gvardia there, oh, got to be careful with this Gvardia DP. Yep, goes down before it unloads. You can really get caught out these days by losing transports because they don't unload immediately like they used to. In a more recent patch, they made it so that the vehicle has to stop, the transport has to stop in order for the infantry to unload, which makes sense. But in cases like this, if you're not on the ball, and then like a 2-star infantry squad starts blasting your transport, it's gonna die before you unload, and that is not a good trade for you. But Gonzo has managed to take this flag on the bottom side early, which is an extra flag that he wouldn't otherwise have at the start, and that's allowing him a little bit of concession in the middle where he can kind of let Underthesea have a bit of ground, and he doesn't have to worry too much because he has that extra flag. But this PTRS squad, look at that, it's managed to get all the way through. That's amazing. So looks like Underthesea is going to try and move it to the reinforcing road here so that he can snipe reinforcing troops coming in. It'd be amazing if it works, but we'll have to wait and see. IS-1 looking for the engagement with the Su-76. Does get 1 hit on target. Razved Doso are currently covering it off, but 3 Avtos now going to charge that down, I would expect. Oh, if they actually went straight for it, they might do. Oh no, come on Underthesea, please. You can do it, I believe. Because that's reloading. There we go, yep. Avtos unload next to the IS-1. Oh, they don't manage to get the kill in one go. But they are still going to be in range for a second throw. IS-1 goes down. Big plays here from Underthesea. Really, really nice job with those Avtos. Bringing them in the M2 half tracks allows him to get them close and unload without being forced out of those transports by light arms fire. Very, very nice play indeed. 37 mil. Now unloading into the Avtos though. Gonzo saw the early airplay, so it looks like he's doubled up on 37s at the start, but we haven't really seen any other air attacks come in, so that might be completely wasted. And now it looks like Gonzo is going to come under pressure of the off map, and with the T-34-85 now being the biggest piece of armor on the map, Underthesea is taking control of the armor play as well, with the IS-1 going down, so that's really quite big. These Avtos did take a lot of damage. I'm surprised that M2 hasn't disappeared. I guess it's because it's crew killed. but that's really odd. Either way, Avto's, at least 3 of the squads are going to be dead here. 1 of the squad remains. Big off map though. Fire for effect, absolutely smashes the Gavardia, and now the Tanko is going to be zooming in with the M2A1 half track with the 50 cal. He can just use the 50 cal to basically finish off pinning anything he wants to, and then like kill it off or surrender it basically. But the T-34, it's got to get them hit on target. Oh, nice hit there. I think Underthesea got a little bit greedy. He could have easily unloaded his Tankos before pushing for the Gavardia, but instead decided to just commit straight away. And it did cost him the squad and the half track. But the 37 here, that's got to be taken care of, because otherwise the Tankos just straight up die. Although the SG-76 is going to be dealing with the T-34 first. The SG-76s are actually quite nice because they can aim relatively quickly. The Razvedosor managing to unload Gavardia down the road is pretty helpful. But looks like Underthesea in a very dominating position here in the middle of the map. Now, again, Gonzo still controls this objective, so that is meaning that even with Underthesea controlling all the flags in the town, it's only 14 to 10, which gives Gonzo half an hour to actually sort this out. So it's not as bad as it looks, really, for Gonzo right now, but it is pretty bad. Mainly just due to the difference in troops in the middle of the map here. But the 37's actually paying off. That's good. Manages to shoot down one of the aircraft. That's very important for Gonzo, because otherwise he's going to have invested into these 37s for no reason. Oh no! Don't do it, Underthesea. There is a PTRS right here. It did not get killed. And there is an off-map driving straight up this road into line of sight of it. Is that on attack move order? It is. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, that is terrible! Oh, this PTRS paying off so much. I feel so bad for Gonzo. That is disgusting. What a play by Underthesea. Takes out the off-map vehicle in the back there. That is so important. Now Underthesea going to be continuing his off-map onto the Gonzo, which looks like it's going to hit very well. He's then going to be able to push forwards with the M2A1 half-track that he's got waiting here to surrender any units that do get pinned. I can't believe that just happened. And honestly, like, Gonzo's had to unload a Tango Desarnigi here now to find the PTRS. Now, the best way to actually find the PTRS is, in fact, to put this on a hunt order, because it will automatically search the area to find and kill the PTRS squad. But Gonzo's going to just put on an attack move order, keep it near the road probably, so that he can't move the PTRS there. But this PTRS is now going to go all the way to the spawn and probably do the same thing again. Yak 1B coming in with the bombing strike onto the Razvedosor. Doesn't get a good hit. Pretty lucky there for Gonzo. 37 actually might get the kill because the Yak 1B turned back. No, looks like it's going to be safe. Oh, good kill onto the T-34. T-34-85 getting the job done there. M2A1 was trying to get some surrenders in, but with this T-34-76 still being okay, it looks like no surrenders coming out this time around, but still some more ground made for Underthesea. But no flag here, really, for Underthesea to actually take. Underthesea, if he wants to get a double tick, which he probably should sooner than later, is either attack this bottom side or go for maybe this flag on the bottom side of the town. This would be a lot safer to go for because he doesn't really know what's on this bottom side. PE2 though coming in with the bombing strike. That's going for the Su-76. Doesn't get the kill though, which is a bit unfortunate. T-34 now going to be moving up to clean up the Gavardia in the open and potentially the 37. If he can start taking down some of these units like the Gavardia and then the 37, he can maybe think about bringing in more aircraft. But I'm not really sure if the 44th really have much aircraft that he's going to want to use, at least. Ultimately, you're just going to want to get more T-34s in, probably, or more anti-armor, basically. Something like a ZIS-2 would be nice on the edge of the town so that you can start popping these T-34 76s. That kind of thing. The Gvardi now moving down here have managed to pin both the Razvedosor and the Gvardi DP in the open, which is going to allow Underthesea to get some units towards this flag, which when he captures will put him at the 15-9, which is very, very important. Tenko's coming in there. Looks like the PTRS currently hanging back. I don't know if he like cancelled the order on purpose, but it looks like they're just chilling. T-34 does go down. Oh, Ziz2 at close range, not good for the T-34 1943, but he does manage to stop to get the shot off onto the T-34 76. Nice hit from the Su-152, absolutely annihilates that unit out in the open there. And T-34 crew panic, just going to make it fall back for the time being. So it looks like Underthesea is starting to break down the medium armor that Gonzo's trying to use to support his infantry into the town, but with the Su-152 arriving, things are looking pretty dire for Gonzo right now. It's going to be very, very difficult for him to get infantry across the open here without suffering a lot of losses, because these T-34 85s can use the cover to get good shots onto anything that approaches the town, and that's just really, really unfortunate. 2-star vet takes out another T-34. Good cap onto this flag from Underthesea, gets that 15-9 finally. I feel like he could have done that a little bit sooner, but the Tankos, they're just continuing. Looks like he's going to go for even another flag up here. IS-2 being bought by Gonzo. Guess that's one way to deal with something like the Su-152 at range, or even the T-34. M2A1 half-track does go down. The Tankos did manage to unload. If they can clean up the SG-43, this might open up the salient and grab Underthesea the flag. Off map now coming down on the bottom side though. Oh, Underthesea certainly just making plays all over the map now that he's secured the town. And whilst Gonzo does manage to get a nice little surrender there, that is really nowhere near what he needs to get back into this game. It is not looking good for Gonzo. So Zdravniki did unload there. Looks like they took a bit of damage in the open from the Tankos. The Tankos going to want to finish off the SG. Get that out of the way. Then if the Gvardi push forwards, they might be able to connect the salient. There's also potential for cap onto this flag. That's very deep onto Gonzo's side of things. And looks like all of this stuff on the top side here for Gonzo. Gonzo trying to actually make a move with that, but already Underthesea bringing in extra units on the top side as well. Oh dear, this is just going from bad to worse. With the off-map landing, the Tankos have to move back because they're going to get surrendered by the M2A1 half-tracks or any infantry that comes sweeping through here. So he has to give up that flag to the off-map. And then the Tankos get caught out in the open, the M2A1s run them down. This is just paint by numbers for Underthesea, it really, really is. Gvardia securing that location, and the M2A1 just looking for all of the surrenders there. Oh, it's painful. The kill back here onto the off map is just so big. I don't know if he killed this. Was this an off map as well? Please don't tell me that was an off map as well. That could have easily been the rocket off map. If the rocket off map went down as well to that, I'm gonna have to check at the end. I don't even know what I want to say to that. But the bomber coming in again. The P2's definitely a decent way for Gonzo to get some damage in, but the Yak 1 there, looking to get on the tail of it, shoot it down. 37 might stop it in time, yep. Forces it full back. Gvardia getting nowhere on the top side. And meanwhile, the half-track's just taking control on this bottom side of the map. Gonzo trying to hold on in this match. With his IS-2 up on this ridge. He could definitely try and get some infantry down here, covered by this IS-2, to get back into the town from this direction, because it would stop these Su-76s and the T-34 from really being that effective. But unfortunately, it might just be like a little bit too late. By the time he manages to get infantry deep into the town, it's going to be like very, very close again it's kind of similar to the last game. I feel like Underthesea has just had like these really good initial plays that have really set the tone for the game, like big time. And P2 coming in again there with the bombing strike. Might kill off both the Gavardia actually, which would give him back the flag. That's not too bad. Go back to 16 to 8. But that's still not a place you want to be in. Another off-map vehicle. Actually, that might just be the off-map vehicle from the bottom side moving to the center. But, yep, Underthesea still moving in. And the thing is about this game as well, same as the last, is both players have the same deployment type. So neither really gets an advantage in any phase. So if they fall behind due to one play or another, that's something that kind of sticks until the other player can make a play back. And generally, when a player makes a play that's very effective, it is very difficult to do the same back. Like, the person who does it first generally has a huge advantage because they have time on their hands, pretty much. But this IS-2 doing its best to support the infantry as it pushes in, which is doing okay right now. The Sapere should be able to come in here and surrender or kill off these squads, and then continue to push through the light cover of these buildings to clean out more Gavardia. Like Sapere at close range will do a great job. Oh, lovely bombing strike there. Please, Sapere, go surrender them. Oh, that'd be absolutely amazing to get even more of a surrender here for Gonzo. This could be the play that gets him back into the town. And so far, that is 3 units. Can he get a 4th? It's going to have to unload. The Su-76 was about to shoot his transport. Does find the 4th infantry squad, though. That's big. That was a really, really nice play there to get back into the town. The off-map is, of course, going to stop it for the time being. But that's certainly going to make things easier the next time around. Next time he brings in some infantry, he will be able to get them deeper into the town without having to deal with as much forces in his way. 2 Sapere coming in for Underthesea on the bottom side, where there's this 3 here. T-34 did manage to take out the half-track on this bottom side. And the Sapere, I think, are just going to sit here and kind of try and solidify this point. But Underthesea really putting on the pressure to try and take that. And where before Gonzo had this little flag here as security, he's now under threat on the bottom side of the map as well. So it's not looking good. And on the top, off map, hits the mark. Looks like it pinned down some units, and the T-34 and the Sapere pushed through. TU-2S coming in with the 250 kilogram bombs, looking for the drop onto these Gavardia. And if he can pin down all of these, he can start to rush forwards and get some surrenders in there. Grab another flag. T-34, 85. Can it finish off the T-34, 76, 1942? That's pretty important. Yes, it can. That allows the Sapere to get just a little bit further up. Saves them a bit of time, and everything in this moment is about time. It is just... Gonzo needs to make plays that buy him time so that he can have enough to get back into the game, whilst Underthesea, he's trying to do the opposite. He's just trying to keep the pressure on and make it harder and harder for Gonzo to come back. The PE2s, bombing strikes, these could really do a nice job pinning down all of this infantry, and then the Gavardia, they can push back the opposite direction. Nice double kill there from the bombs, landed perfectly. That Gavardia also went down to the machine guns. This one will likely die. It looks like he's stuck on the building there. But that was some good kills indeed. Another infantry squad down in the center to the IS-2. IS-2s have great HE power. Oh, and a lovely bombing strike, crucial again, against the T-34, 76. And it just feels like Gonzo, he has the ability to play very well and make significant plays, but it always seems to come late. And again, he's relying on these bombers, which the PE2s have been doing fantastically well for him. That bomber might actually just straight up get the kill onto the T-34 since it's already damaged. Yep. But he's going to want to try and finish off his other ones so that he can maintain his armor superiority against the infantry on this bottom side. This is 3 though, might be a bit of a problem. Regardless, if Gonzo takes back this flag on the bottom side of the town and the flag on the left side of the town, then he's looking at a 14 to 10, which isn't too bad, considering. But, again, if this was the rocket off map that died back here, which I really hope it wasn't, then it's going to be difficult to get a position back into the town. And the ZIS-3 does indeed take out the overextended T-34. That's very bad for Gonzo now, because these Sapere are going to recover. And then with the T-34 at their back, he'll be able to take that flag and secure it. So I feel like that was unnecessary. And probably just a bit of a mistake, really, from Gonzo. IS-2 completely safe here. No real way that anything can really penetrate it. It's a 1944, so unless it gets side shot maybe by the T-34-85, it's going to be okay. But I think Underthesea might be trying to make a play here. He's using the T-34-85 to distract the IS-2 so he can shoot it in the side where the Su-76 is, but the IS-2's having none of it. Blast that T-34. Oh, and this one's going to shoot that one as well. Yep. That is just cut to pieces. That flanking attempt there just stopped in its tracks. IS-2, they have such high damage. 12 damage against armor means they can one-shot anything. And again, HE is 3, so they can also do serious damage against infantry. Bombing strike coming in from the P2. We'll probably kill that again if the bomb lands on target. No, it didn't. It wasn't close enough. But that T-34 I think was already damaged, so just ends up pinning down his own unit in the end. T-34 again going down there. Was that Gonzo's T-34 though? I'm not sure it was. Regardless, 15-9. Gonzo starting to get back on his feet a little bit in the center. You can see the infantry disparity here is not as bad as it once was, especially with like a couple of Strafniki coming in. That certainly matches up to these Gavardia. But the bottom side, Flamers zooming in. We are now into Phase C. So, since we have reached Phase C, Gonzo's going to have less points to work with to get back into the town. So, it's not really what he needs. He needs it to still be Phase B so that he can leverage the sort of armor advantage he's managed to secure in the middle. But I don't think he's going to have time to do that. Tankos are even pushing onto this flag. Very cheeky. T-34-85 does take out the T-34 on the bottom side, which is pretty important. The Strafniki now need to make some ground, and against the Flamers in close range, the Strafs aren't going to do that great. But one thing we can see is that Underthesea seemed to have been saving quite a lot of points. He brought in, what's that, 8 units, 10 units of Gavardia at the same time, and 2 T-34-85s. Like, he had a lot of points. So maybe he just really wasn't under that much pressure. He was sitting on a lot, that just kind of floating those points, so that if Gonzo was to make a big play somewhere, he could then respond in kind with his own points that he'd kind of saved up. The IS-2 here trying to dodge the bombing strike from the TU. Oh, never mind, that went for the Strafniki there. The P2 looking for the dogfight onto the TU-2S there, trying to shoot that down. Looks like the TU-2S should get out alive, but we're back to the 14-10. Gonzo is so close once again to being able to bring this back. I can't help but imagine what this would be like if he maybe had a balanced deployment type instead, because Gonzo seems to be much more practiced on a balanced deployment type. And if moving into Phase C now, he had a balanced deployment type income, which doubled Underthesea, then he would look, this would be an easy win, right? But because he is matched in income with Underthesea only really has to trade evenly and hold on to that extra flag for just a little bit longer, and then he wins the game. So currently, Underthesea just trying to hold on, gets a nice bombing strike in there, going to try and hit one of these PE2s as well. PE2's coming in big for Gonzo. Needs to get rid of this Gavardia so that he can take back that flag. See where these other bombs land. Are they all going to land in the same place? Looks like they did. Does manage to get that back. Still 13-11. Has secured this flag on the bottom side. Has got the flag secured on the top side. Just needs one more flag. Can he make it happen? He's got, what's that, 6 Gavardia DP on the way. 2 Avtos moving into the town. Meanwhile, Underthesea buying another off-map and 3 more Gavardia. Off-map ideal for slowing down your opponent. Because It kind of forces your opponent away from the location where the off-map's coming down. They then have to fall back from it. You can then even push onto it, and then they've got to try and make a counterplay. So off-map here is actually really big, and if he can pin down this IS-2 1944, and maybe these infantry as well, the Avto's coming right through that, then that could certainly help him out quite a bit. He's been forced to unload this Avto because the Gavardi DP might kill the transport otherwise. And that's going to leave that Avto right in the path of this off-map. Is this Avto going to be able to... No. I was going to say, like, straight into 2 Gavardi units? Not going to happen. Only 15 seconds left. I don't think Gonzo's going to be able to do it in time. Unless he gets the Gavardi DP onto that flag, it's going to be so close. He needs to be able to... He needs to get up his flag. He needs to get it. No! He's lost the flag on the bottom side of the map due to the off-map. And that is the end. 25 minutes, 1 second. Underthesea taking the victory from Gonzo 2-0 in this semi-final. Moves on to the final himself. Congratulations to Underthesea for a decisive series. I mean, those games weren't easy, but my. 2-0 on Gonzo, and Gonzo at the end again with a positive KD, 2,715 kills to 1,810 losses. Both times Gonzo's so close. I just feel like if he had that balanced deployment type in Phase C, he'd win every time. But both times he committed to Maverick deployment type, and I just don't feel like he's as practiced on it because he's not getting those early plays in like Underthesea is. Underthesea is timing it perfectly. Like, honestly, it's just like he in both games, Underthesea has made these crucial Phase A pushes, which then he can capitalize on in Phase B with his income. That's what you've got to do with Maverick. You've got to make the play in the early game so that you can then capitalize on it with your superior income. Whereas Gonzo seems to play it a lot slower and then loses early and then is forced to use his Phase B income to take back ground, which he's very good at. Gonzo's very good at trading well, but then he doesn't have the extra at the end to really give him the time he needs to push back. And that's happened in both games. So, yeah, that was quite something. Like, I really want to see the PTRS. Well, I kind of don't. But an IS-2 1944 did really, really well. Both of them, look how well they did. Gonzo used these amazingly to get back in the game. Took out 3 T-34-85s and an SU-152 and the SU-76. This one took out T-34-85, 2 of them, 3 of them, and an SU-76. The P-2s, really, really good. But look, even with all of this damage, look how little damage he did in the early game. So, like, this is like the first half of the game, and then he brought in an IS-2. And then the IS-2s get all the kills, right? And the P-2s. And that's where all the KD comes from. But if we go over to losses, you can see Underthesea did really, really well early on. His T-34-85 carved up the T-34s that Gonzo is using. He managed to get the Yak-1B kill there. Off-map was really, really useful for helping with surrenders. And then where's this PTRS squad? Where are you? Is it at the top? No, it's not. I really need to find this. Oh, it did. No way. It was another off-map vehicle. It was. Oh, that's the rocket off-map as well. It's the rocket off-map. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, I feel his pain. I feel Gonzo's pain right now. Oh, okay, we won't dwell on that. Right, 2-0, Underthesea, congratulations. He will go up against whoever wins the other semi-final, which is Nilla versus Vesely. Yeah, that's going to be a great series. Vesely managing to beat Gonzo in the best of 3 to take the first seed in his group. So he's now going to go up against Nilla, who defeated Jack in round 1. So, yeah, that's going to be a really, really good series as well. But this one was knife edge in both games. Really, really well played Underthesea. Commiserations, Gonzo. that's where I'm going to leave it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.